Scientists often claim that human beings use only 10% of their brains. The remaining 90% remains a mystery. Nobody truly knows what would happen if those hidden regions were ever unlocked. Some people imagine limitless intelligence. Others imagine something far worse. Because the unexplored parts of the human mind are like a sealed box. And sometimes, sealed boxes stay closed for a reason. The story I'm about to tell happened several years ago. At the time, I worked as a journalist for a small media company. One afternoon, a man walked into my office. At first glance, he seemed ordinary enough. Early 30s, thin build, sharp hair sticking up like the spines of a hedgehog. But then I noticed his eyes. Something was horribly wrong with them. They were unnaturally narrow, pulled toward his temples, and his pupils were moving, rapidly, violently, twitching back and forth so fast they seemed almost mechanical, as though they were tracking something invisible. The man sat down across from me. Then he leaned forward, very slowly, and whispered, "I can see inside people's brains." I assumed he was insane. He pointed to his own head. Not their thoughts, not their memories, not their emotions, their actual brains, the physical organ itself. "Ancient horse masters could judge an animal by its bones," he said. "I judge people by the color of their brains." I forced a smile. I was already trying to think of a polite way to end the conversation. But then his expression changed. His voice became rough, almost predatory. "Most people have gray brains, white brains, dull brains, worthless brains. But true geniuses," a smile crept across his face, "their brains glow, and the color changes. If genius isn't cultivated early enough, it begins to rot. The color fades." Suddenly, he grabbed my sleeve. His hand was trembling, his palm soaked with sweat. His eyes widened. "I need a witness, a journalist. Come with me." I should have refused. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. A few hours later, I found myself traveling with him to a rundown apartment complex on the outskirts of the city. And during that journey, something impossible happened. The man aged. Not gradually, not over months or years, over hours. Deep wrinkles appeared across his face. His skin sagged. His hair turned silver. By the time we arrived, he looked decades older. When I helped him walk up the stairs, he felt almost weightless, like a bundle of dry sticks wrapped in skin. A woman opened the apartment door. She was large, broad-shouldered, strong, the complete opposite of her husband. Without saying a word, she grabbed him under the arms, lifted him effortlessly, and tossed him onto the sofa like a piece of luggage. Then silence filled the apartment. A long, uncomfortable silence. Creak. The sound came from the bedroom, a slow metallic groan. The bedroom door began opening by itself. Just a few inches. I expected a child to peek out. Instead, a skeletal arm emerged from the darkness. Thin, pale, far too long. Its fingers slowly curled, beckoning. The woman jumped as if she'd been electrocuted. Without a word, she rushed into the kitchen, gathered food and drinks, then disappeared into the bedroom. The darkness swallowed her whole. The husband opened his eyes. A proud smile spread across his face. He is my masterpiece, my son. He is a genius, a gift from God. Before he could continue, the bedroom door exploded open. His wife charged into the room. She looked less like a woman and more like an enraged animal. She threw him to the floor, then began striking him repeatedly, slap after slap, fist after fist. Tears streamed down her face. "You ruined him!" she screamed. "You destroyed our son! You destroyed him with your madness!" Much later, the apartment became quiet again. The husband sat beneath a yellow lamp. Foam gathered at the corners of his mouth. His eyes were bloodshot, wild, unfocused. Then he began talking. Years ago, he had worked in a chemical pharmaceutical factory. According to him, constant exposure to chemical vapors changed his vision. At first, he thought he was hallucinating, but eventually, he stopped seeing faces. He saw brains, human brains, floating inside people's skulls, walking down the street, sitting on buses, standing in supermarkets, everywhere. Obsessed with understanding what he was seeing, he taught himself neurology. Then one day, he looked at his 3-year-old son, and what he saw changed everything. His son's brain glowed, bright, vibrant, alive, unlike anything he had ever seen before. So he quit his job and dedicated his entire life to unlocking that potential. Music, languages, advanced mathematics, calligraphy, science. Every waking second became training. Every moment became stimulation. Every day became pressure. No wasted time, no rest, no distractions. His smile widened. I accelerated his evolution. The overhead lights suddenly swayed, back and forth, casting moving shadows across the room. The man looked directly at me. "Now," he said softly, "let's see your brain." Before I could react, something grabbed my face. Tiny fingers, cold fingers, skeletal fingers. They emerged from behind my head, holding my eyelids open. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I couldn't even blink. The man's eyes began moving, faster, 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 until his pupils disappeared completely. His eyeballs rolled backward, leaving only 2 blood-red spheres. He stared straight through me, straight through my skull, straight into my brain. 1 second passed, then 2, then 3. Finally, he leaned back, disappointed. Gray. Completely ordinary. Nothing compared to my son." His wife approached me, her eyes swollen from crying. She grabbed my hand. Her grip felt like iron. "Come. You need to see what he did." The bedroom was completely dark. No windows, no light, no sound. The mother stepped forward and flicked the switch. The moment the room illuminated, my stomach turned. What sat on that bed was not something I can easily forget. At first glance, it resembled a child, only vaguely. Its head was enormous, the size of a giant pumpkin, perhaps larger, far too heavy for the tiny neck supporting it. The neck bent under the weight, as if it might snap at any moment. Thin yellow hair clung to the scalp like dying weeds, and the skin The skin was stretched so tightly, it had become translucent. I could see everything. Blood vessels, brain fluid, pulsing tissue, living matter moving beneath the surface. The brain itself was visible, naked, exposed. And it wasn't gray. It wasn't white. It was crimson. A deep, pulsating, unnatural crimson, glowing beneath the skin, like something alive, something evil. The room itself seemed stained red by its glow. The mother began crying again. "He can't stand for long. The weight is too much. 6 months ago, his head started growing. My husband celebrated. He said the genius was finally unlocking. But look at him. My son is trapped in darkness. He isn't a genius anymore. He's a monster." Then, a sound came from the doorway. Click. The boy had heard his mother's voice. Slowly, he tried to leave the room, trying to comfort her, trying to reach her. One step, then another. But his balance was gone. The weight of his skull pulled him sideways. He stumbled, fell, and his head struck the tile floor. Crack. The sound echoed through the apartment. For one frozen second, nobody moved. Then the skull ruptured. Dark red fluid exploded outward. Brain fluid, blood. Pressure built up over months, released instantly, like a dam collapsing. The crimson liquid flooded across the floor, and as it drained away, the giant skull seemed to collapse, deflate, shrink. The impossible shape disappeared, leaving only a small child behind. 2 weeks later, I returned. The same apartment, the same family, the same door. This time, a boy answered, bandages wrapped around his head, but otherwise, he looked completely normal. No enormous skull, no glowing brain, no crimson light. Just a child. The trophies were gone, the certificates were gone, the awards had been removed from the walls. He no longer remembered the advanced mathematics, the languages, the music, the endless lessons. His genius was gone, every bit of it. He had become ordinary. And yet, for the first time, he smiled. A real smile, a human smile. A few months later, I saw the father again. On a crowded pedestrian street. He looked homeless, disheveled, wild-eyed. His pupils spun uncontrollably. He grabbed strangers, parents, children, anyone who would listen. "Do you want to know the color of your child's brain?" he screamed. People pushed him away. Some struck him. Others ran. But he kept shouting, "Let me unlock them. Let me see the color. Let me make them extraordinary." As I watched him disappear into the crowd, I realized something. He wasn't looking for help. He wasn't looking for forgiveness. He was looking for his next masterpiece. And some boxes, no matter how tempting they seem, were never meant to be opened. Because sometimes the thing hiding inside is far worse than ignorance. And sometimes being ordinary is a gift.